In the weeks following Mystra's death, one question surfaced everywhere my travels took me. I found it whispered through the towers of Silverymoon, debated in the hidden halls of Candlekeep, and carried across Faerûn in letters exchanged between archmages who had not corresponded in decades. Every conversation, no matter where it began, eventually reached the same uncertainty. Who now guards the weave? This was never a matter of idle philosophy. Every authority I consulted agreed that the weave was not a passive force that could simply exist without guidance. Its stability depended upon stewardship, someone to preserve its structure, regulate its flow, and resist the corruption that constantly threatened it. If no such guardian remained, the consequences would eventually reach every spellcaster in Faerûn. Hoping to understand how the greatest living scholars viewed the crisis, I sought the opinions of 3 of the most respected arcane minds, still active at the time. Their replies reached me only days apart. Rather than offering certainty, they revealed how profoundly divided even the wisest practitioners had become. I preserved each letter, not because it answered my question, but because together they documented the intellectual panic spreading through the magical world. The first response came from Vailor Ilfakir. His letter was concise, almost detached in tone, yet the conclusion it reached was deeply unsettling. According to the oldest texts available to his order, supported by exhaustive divinations and unanimous scholarly agreement, the weave had been deliberately designed to depend upon an intelligent caretaker. Mystra had not merely governed it, she had become one of its essential components. Without her continued presence, he believed the weave would inevitably deteriorate. His calculations estimated only a few years before permanent fractures would begin appearing. The formal conclusion ended without proposing any solution. Only a final handwritten note, added beneath his signature in visibly less steady script, betrayed the exhaustion behind his measured language, revealing that neither he nor his colleagues had slept properly for many days. The second reply arrived from Maristar Aldemir, who had withdrawn from public life in the Thunder Peaks years before. His perspective differed completely. Rather than describing the weave as a structure requiring maintenance, he portrayed it as something far more intimate. According to his interpretation, Mystra had not simply preserved the weave through duty or obligation. She had nurtured it with constant presence, touching every spell cast across Faerûn in ways no magical theory could adequately describe. When I asked who now guarded the weave, he argued that I was asking the wrong question altogether. In his view, the weave was no longer protected. It had become orphaned. He urged me to watch the edges of the world, predicting that the earliest signs would not resemble mechanical failure, but something stranger, as though magic itself were grieving the loss of the one who had always sustained it. The third letter proved the shortest, and in many respects, the most unsettling. It came from Hodrick Stonehand, whose work I had admired for many years. His entire response consisted of a single admission. He believed he knew the identity of Mystra's successor, yet feared writing her name. Those 3 perspectives shared almost nothing in common, yet together they suggested a possibility I could not ignore. One scholar predicted inevitable collapse. Another believed the weave itself was mourning. The third implied that a successor already existed, and that at least some members of Faerûn's magical elite knew who she was while deliberately refusing to record her identity. Unable to dismiss such an implication, I wrote again to Hedrick requesting clarification. His second reply offered even fewer words than the first. According to his explanation, his silence did not arise from uncertainty, but from the terrifying possibility that the rumors were true. If the future of the weave truly rested upon mortal shoulders, committing that knowledge to parchment could become an act of unimaginable consequence. From that moment forward, the search for Mystra's possible successor became inseparable from my own research. I followed rumors through city after city, collecting fragments that rarely agreed with one another. Again and again, I encountered references to a young woman connected somehow to the moment of Mystra's fall. Some accounts placed her near the celestial stair. Others claim she carried within herself a fragment of the weave. None could be independently verified. The contradictions became almost impossible to reconcile. Depending upon which witness I questioned, she was described as a hedge wizard from the Dale Lands, a quiet scholar from Candlekeep, or an orphan from Waterdeep who had never practiced magic before the catastrophe. Every new account seemed to erase the certainty offered by the previous one, leaving only confusion where a clear identity should have emerged. Yet amid all those contradictions, one remarkable detail appeared with extraordinary consistency. Witnesses from entirely unrelated regions described magic behaving differently whenever this mysterious woman was nearby. Spells that had failed repeatedly for weeks suddenly functioned once more. Areas scarred by thorn spirals ceased expanding. The wounded weave, erratic almost everywhere else, appeared to grow calm in her presence. Among the testimonies I collected, one has remained particularly difficult to forget. A ranger traveling the road toward Shadowdale described encountering a young woman who displayed no obvious sign of spellcasting. According to his account, she neither spoke an incantation nor raised her hands. Nevertheless, as she passed a place where a thorn spiral had burned continuously for several days, the blackened scars simply faded away. He insisted they did not disappear as though erased, but seemed instead to heal naturally before his eyes. What disturbed him even more was her complete lack of surprise. She continued walking without hesitation, behaving as though such things required no explanation. When I questioned him further, he searched for words that still echo through my notes. He could only describe the weave around her as feeling younger, as though something ancient had begun anew. That choice of language demanded careful consideration. Younger, not weakened, not dying. Younger. If enough independent witnesses had reached similar conclusions, then perhaps the weave was not simply collapsing under the loss of Mystra. Perhaps it was returning to an earlier, more primal condition, shedding familiar structures while awaiting a new hand, capable of shaping them once again. I devoted weeks to confirming the woman's identity and failed at every turn. Yet with time, even that failure acquired its own significance. Records contradicted one another. Divinations produced little of value. Reliable witnesses vanished before I could question them twice. The possibility gradually emerged that these obstacles were not accidents at all. If the weave itself had begun shielding its future guardian, concealing her from magical scrutiny, obscuring written evidence, and preventing discovery until the proper moment, then the answer to the question that haunted Faerûn might be far simpler and far more unsettling than any scholar wished to believe. I no longer think the question is who guards the weave now. Every piece of evidence I have gathered suggests that, for a brief and dangerous span of history, no one truly did. Instead, the weave itself seemed to endure in a wounded, unfinished state, while preparing someone to inherit a burden unlike any other. Whether that successor already understood her destiny, or even survived long enough to accept it, remained beyond my ability to determine. My investigation ended without certainty. The question that remained was no longer whether a successor existed, but whether the one chosen by the Weave would live long enough to become its guardian.
The Impossible Archive is open. New episodes every week. Subscribe before the next entry disappears.